Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Beauvais and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
All right, well, here we go. Another week where the Bills certainly didn't have their fastball, their best game. They don't have their A game, and yet they still scored 31 points. They win a game 31-19 this time against the New Orleans Saints, and they go to 4-0. So there's so much to talk about because you get a win, you're 4-0, you feel good about that. You don't feel really great about the way they played, I think, but we're going to dive through it and talk through it all here, and it's always game day in Buffalo. Sal Capaccio with you and Matt Beauvais as well. I mean, did I kind of start that right? Is that kind of the way you're feeling?
I think you started it exactly right.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I'm not as concerned as some people are. You know, going off of this game, saw a lot of concern online of like, okay, if this is the Saints and this is what they can do to you, how are you a legitimate Super Bowl contender? I think a bit of it was situational. I think a bit of it was just the Bills not playing their best game. But I think overall, like, it's kind of what we've seen the first 4 weeks. The defense is meh, but does enough to get a win. In the offense, even on a day when they don't look great, still was able to score 31 points. So overall, it's not any earth-shattering new information to me. It's just, this is the Bills we have seen through 4 weeks. But, you know, we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we did the podcast of like watching around the league and watching the other teams. They're the only unbeaten team left in the AFC. So not for anything. They are right now on their own at the top of the AFC. So it's once again just another step towards the thing we've talked about, which is trying to get the 1 seed and putting yourself in as favorable position as possible in the playoffs.
We thank you for joining us. You might be watching us live. We're doing a live video edition here, and you can always watch us at Sal Sports on YouTube. And when we're live, we're on X at Sal Sports, and we're going to get you up watching on Matt's Twitter as well. But so make sure you subscribe to both of us at Matt_Beauvais. If you're just listening to us after, we appreciate that. And of course, you can always download, subscribe, and we always appreciate you coming aboard. And while we are live tonight, you can comment. You can ask questions. We'll do our best to get to some of them. We have our own stuff we have to kind of get through here, but we'll definitely pay attention to what you're saying over there, and you guys can talk through everything as well. All right. I don't know if you want to start on offense or defense, but I'll start with the offense because you said something interesting. You know, you said about here they are again, you know, scoring 31 points. And I want to know, how the heck are they doing that, Matt? How is this team still scoring 31 points over the last 2 weeks when it just feels like they're not even playing their best football by far?
Because James Cook is really, really good. Josh Allen is really, really good.
James Cook is amazing. He really
James Cook is phenomenal. Like, he's now solidified himself as a top 5 running back in the NFL. It helps that the Bills' offensive line is fantastic, right? They might have the best offensive line in the league, and teams are concerned about Josh Allen, the reigning MVP. But when they need plays, they get them. Like, I think the perfect example of that today, even though one of the instances they didn't get it, the 4th and short where they did the little shuffle pass to Shakir, was like a nonsensical play call. I don't mind the decision at all. I hate the play call just because it feels like the best case with that play is you gain a couple of yards. Nobody's ever breaking that play off for a huge gain. So it just feels like the margin for error is too small there. But I got sidetracked a bit. I'm sorry. 3rd and 5, 4th quarter, Bills up 2. Josh is like, I'm going to make a play. He runs it up the middle, gains a huge gain. Next play, touchdown, Dalton Kincaid puts the game on ice. So like when they needed the plays and when they have needed the plays this year collectively, they have offensively got them even on days when they're not super efficient. Like the 2nd quarter of this game was a joke, but the 1st, the 3rd, and the 4th were all really, really good.
Yeah. By the way, I do see this comment. I'm going to put it up here now because I thought about this. Bro, I laugh at the fact 90% of Bills fans wrote Cook off and said, let him walk. What are y'all saying now? Matt, I thought about the same thing today. I'm thinking about, man, how many people said, just trade this guy. He just wants all this money. This dude is playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he is, for his size, one of the smallest starting back in the league, if not the smallest, and yet he's powerful. He's so elusive. He stops, as my old coach Glenn Graham at Cleveland Hill used to say, stops on a dime and leaves 9 cents change. I mean, this guy is unbelievable at what he's doing. He is such an important part of the Buffalo Bills offense for sure. I hated that call as well, but you know, the Bills have been able to overcome not some 3 and outs or some mistakes. Today we saw Josh throw his first interception as well. 31 points is still a really good number to put on the board. And here they go again, another 30-point outing, oh ho hum by an offense that we feel like still did not have their best day. And I think the concern is though, Matt, when will they have their best day? Because we say that, but maybe is that really what their best day is? That, hey, they're going to struggle at times, but because it's putting on the cape by Josh Allen and because James Cook's so dynamic that even though that's who they are, they're still going to squeeze out, quote unquote, 31 points.
Not to get ahead of ourselves, but at some point we'll talk about the Chiefs and the Ravens. Thad Brown from WROC in Rochester told me a banana stat in the media room as we were finishing up with our 6 o'clock live shots today.
Okay.
They scored, I think, 37 points in this game. It is the first time in the regular season, they have scored more than 31 points since week 3 of 2023. It has been more than 2 years since that team, which is the team you were competing with, has scored more than 31 points in a regular season game. The Bills' lowest output of the year is 31 points this year, correct?
Yes.
So in every game, they have scored 31 or more points. If this is the ceiling, this is a bigger picture conversation. If this is the ceiling, this should be enough to win 90% of the games that you play. The problem is in the playoffs, it hasn't been enough because the defense kind of collapses and throws up.
By the way, no, the Bills scored 30 exactly against the Jets.
Okay, so 30 against the Jets, 31 today, 31 against the Dolphins last week, and then 40 against the Ravens to begin the season.
41-30, 31-31.
I think the ceiling for the offense is what we saw against the Ravens, where they can just score at will. The only concern I have is a bit of a philosophical concern. The Bills are not making conservative decisions. They're going for it when they should go for it and all of these things. But their overall game plan is a little too conservative for my liking offensively. Like at one point in the fourth quarter, Spencer Rattler had as many pass attempts as Josh Allen. Like that can't happen. I get that James Cook is really, really good, but it feels like at every point of the 4 games they've played, for a little stretch, they have forgotten that Josh Allen is their quarterback.
Yeah.
And they get a little bit too cautious. I don't want to see them do that because that is the way that you leave inferior opponents in games longer than they should.
I think that's all very fair. The Bills still won. I mean, the spread was 16.5. They win by 12 here, right? So they'll cover that. It's still a double-digit win, scoring 31. But I think people see the record of the Saints, the record of the Dolphins, and say, yeah, well, you got to beat these teams up. And look, we'd all love that. I would say the Chargers, who were undefeated, just went to the Giants today and lost to a rookie quarterback. I mean, it is the NFL. As they say, everybody gets paid. So you'd love to have more. And I'm not here telling you that everything was great today. It certainly wasn't. The Bills had their share of issues. And that's why we're talking about it here. And it's always game day in Buffalo. I wasn't ignoring Matt a little while ago. I spilled coffee. I was trying to get some coffee. No, I spilled it comes down your mouth a little bit in there. And all of a sudden when I put the coffee cup back and then there's stuff around the coffee cup that's going on the counter over here, and I'm trying to wipe it up. So I wasn't ignoring you or looking away. I was just
kind of a sicko move having coffee at 8:40 p.m.
Oh, I have coffee all the time. I'll drink a cup of coffee before I go to bed. It doesn't matter.
I'm not that bad. I say bad like it's a bad thing. I will have, if I cover a hockey game, like if I'm covering a Sabres game, I always get a cup of coffee between the second and third period, which is really, really late. At that point, that's like around this time or maybe even a little bit later than that. But given the fact that we had a rare Sunday 1 o'clock game, I don't even think I'm going to see the end of this Packers-Cowboys game. I think I'm going to finish this podcast
and go
make something for dinner and then say, smell you later and hopefully wake up on Monday morning. That's
go
my
night
point.
night. Go night night. All right. So there are more things on the offense I'd like to talk about. Let's just do big picture on the defense because I know we watched the defense and they gave up a lot of yards on the ground again. Sandman says, when will the D wake up? Already week 4. How much bloody longer? I love that. What's funny is just like last week, I have to be honest with you. I watched the game on the sidelines, on the field. I'm like, man, they're getting gashed again. And then I go and I look at the box score and I'm like, man, the Saints had 4.6 yards a play. The Saints had 298 yards of total offense. It felt like the Bills, the Saints were moving at will. Third down defense seemed like an issue early in the game. You know what they finished? 5 of 13, 38.5%. And I'm like, I don't know how to wash this in my brain because, again, maybe the expectations are too high. But in the moment, it felt like the defense wasn't playing well. But at the end of the day, they had some really nice numbers actually on that side of the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing with the defense. And that's why when it was happening, I was overly critical of the defense of like, this is not, I think at one point I said, this is not a Matt Milano, Ed Oliver quick fix. Like those guys coming back is not going to fix this entire defense. It is just a fundamental problem that their pass rush simply does not get home nearly enough. And they still have major questions pretty much all over their secondary, aside from Christian Benford. But then when you peel it back and you go, okay, they gave up 19 points. The thing that was tricky about this game, was that the Saints moved the ball pretty effectively and kind of kept the Bills off the field for a lot because they averaged like nearly 6 yards a carry. Kamara looked good. Spencer Rattler gashed them a couple times for some runs. So that was the thing that we talked about with this defense of like, oh, we don't know how they're going to be at stopping the run. In this game, they didn't do great at stopping the run. They got bailed out, though, because the Saints don't really have a passing attack down the field. Like, that's the concern for a team.
Do you know what their yards per pass were?
Oh, it had to be. So, I mean, I can tell you as a fantasy football owner, I had Olave start in a matchup, and Olave, I think, was like their second or third leading receiver, and he pretty much did nothing besides the one touchdown.
The New Orleans Saints.
It's probably Shaheed, right? Was he probably their leading receiver?
No. All right. Well, do you know what their yards per what the yards per attempt were for the game for the Saints?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, let me just give this perspective. A low yards per attempt in the NFL is like 5. Like really, that's a pretty low number. 3.5.
Yeah.
The lowest for the season right now is still over 4 for any team in the league. It has the lowest yards per attempt. 3.5. Saints had no passing game to speak of down the field, and that's why, to me, what concerned me was you knew they kind of came into the game and couldn't really push the ball down the field, then just load up and stop the run. And that's why it concerned me that they were still able to run the ball against the Bills. Now, one thing the Saints did, they ran heavy. They ran 13 personnel sometimes. They ran 12 personnel. I think the Bills are going to see that a lot. Just by the nature of the way the Bills are beat, they're a little bit built. The Bills are built. They're a little bit lighter. Yes, Deion Walker helps there, but that's why now you see Shaq Thompson playing a little bit more. I'm sorry, folks. It's 8:43 here on a Sunday. It's been a long day.
Have another cup of coffee.
There you go. Shaq Thompson playing a little bit more, but that was a concern for me of why it wasn't the overall numbers for the run game. Yes, they can be bad, and sometimes you invite that. It was the fact that you kind of knew they couldn't throw anyway, but yet they were still running on you a little too much.
And this is a good comment from Scott a couple minutes ago. He says, our defense were mittens. Can anyone wrap up? I think that's a very valid concern.
Tackling was terrible.
The tackling in this game was terrible, and it turned a lot of situations that could have been favorable into the Saints' direction. Like there was one where Spencer Rattler kind of broke free, but he should have immediately been taken down by 3 guys, and he wasn't. And then that turned into a 3rd and 1 instead of what would have been a 3rd and 8. The first touchdown that they had, that guy should have been brought down like 3 separate times by one Taron Johnson, one Terrell Bernard, and one Taylor Rapp, and he ends up scoring a touchdown. So it was just the missed tackles that were consistently there. I think the thing that's the most disheartening part about the defense to me was that for as much of an emphasis as they put on the defensive line, especially the pass rush is still unbelievably average, if not below average. Just not good enough, especially against it's Spencer Rattler, right? This is not somebody who's going to just – I don't think he has an NFL win yet, right? This is somebody
after today.
This is somebody you're supposed to be able to get home against, and they still haven't been able to do that.
It wasn't until they were one-dimensional late in the game and they had to throw the ball.
It was garbage time.
You know, speaking of that, so I'm writing arrow up, arrow down. I haven't finished it yet, but when I do, I'm going to give Joey Bosa an arrow down. I just thought he was not good at setting the edge today. And then he missed a tackle in the backfield. And I think at the very end of the game, he made a play or two. But
yeah, he forced a fumble.
He forced a fumble, which is nice. I didn't like his game overall. And one of the things that happened was he got yanked out of the game by Ryan Nielsen, I think, after a play where he didn't set the edge. And that caused the Bills to be in flux, and they had to use a timeout, I think, in that situation. So there was a lot of discombobulation out there because of it.
Yeah, honestly, to the Saints' credit, they're fast off, like their no huddle offense caused some problems for the Bills, like with changing personnel and just the ability that they were able to perform at. And it caused, the one thing I will say too is McDermott took some flack for the timeouts that he took. I don't have issues with the timeouts because they actually ended up saving them in crucial moments.
I mean, they had 10 guys on the field.
One of them was before the 2-point conversion where they didn't have enough guys on the field, and they ended up stopping them on the 2-point conversion. Another one was on a third down where they ended up getting a stop because of it. So it's like,
so wait, do you know what happened on that third down? I think, I'm not sure. Did he say it in the press conference? Because it was only the third play. It was after the third play of the second play of the
half.
Mm-hmm. So I think from the sidelines, and I don't know. I haven't talked to Sean. We haven't asked him this question. The Saints were going up tempo, and the Bills didn't like their personnel. So the Bills called timeout, and Sean was complaining, I believe, that the Saints subbed, which meant the Bills should have been able to sub, and they weren't. And so for people mad at Sean McDermott calling timeouts, he's like, wait a minute, like we don't have the right personnel because we're supposed to be allowed to sub, and you didn't. So they don't have the right personnel. It's third down. The question would be then, would you like the Bills not to call timeout there and go with the wrong personnel? And the Bills are like, we got to call timeout. But he was very upset about that.
Yeah, this goes to your Bosa point. This is a comment from Scott, who's watching on YouTube. Scott, thanks for watching. Bosa is playing too many snaps. I wholeheartedly agree. I think the reason that Joey Bosa's play these last couple weeks has dipped a bit is because he's being asked to play too much, even more so than what we originally thought. Like in the first game, it was like, oh, okay, it makes sense. It's Lamar Jackson. He's your best option. They don't have a real rotation of pass rushers right now. They have three guys, and it's Greg Rousseau, it's Joey Bosa, and it's AJ Epinesa, because they're using Javon Solomon not really as a pass rusher. And, we've had our Landon Jackson conversations before. When Michael Hoyt comes back, I think that will help both Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa by simply having them fresher.
Yeah, I agree.
But I have been collectively underwhelmed besides that Jets game with both of them, and even more so Greg Rousseau. They gave Greg Rousseau a big contract extension, and I think he's playing through something a little bit, but it just has not been nearly up to the standard that they need.
I agree with that. And we've had a lot of comments about Rousseau, and he's just not appearing on the stat sheet. Epinesa did late in the game, but they're not getting enough pressure from the edges right now. I do think getting Ed Oliver, I'm not saying it's an end-all, be-all, fix-all.
It'll help.
But Ed Oliver will help because teams will have to concentrate a little bit more on the interior. How about a guy in the interior who is playing really well? And that is Deion Walker. Deion Walker might be a really, really great find and excellent draft pick for this team the way it's trending.
Deion Walker is trending in a better direction than TJ Sanders is. Now, TJ Sanders did make a couple plays at the end of this game that were like nice pressures and a couple stunts that they ran. So that is a good sign. But Deion Walker has been the more impactful player. And I'm excited to see the Deion Walker, Ed Oliver combination in like obvious pass rush situations, or because didn't it feel like they've used Deion Walker a little bit more all over in a lot more situations than I think we thought they would. I think they, going into the season, I didn't know what to expect from Deion Walker. They're using him kind of a lot.
I agree. I do think that Michael Hoyt coming back will change that. Maybe Larry Ogunjobi, we don't know. I do think that will dictate a little bit more of, who's on the field and who's not, as often as they are. And then obviously we'll talk about the Cole Bishop interception and the play he made, but just overall Cole Bishop, I think he played a pretty good game because, hey, anytime you have 3 yards a pass, the safeties probably did their job at least, and maybe they didn't have much to do. But boy, all those things Sean McDermott told us about Cole Bishop needing reps, I think are coming to fruition now, right? Cole Bishop getting reps. He's gotten better, it seems like, every game going back to the preseason, and he made the play of the game in this particular contest.
Want a quick little hot Bills take?
Sure.
I think the Bills add a safety at some point in the foreseeable future, whether that's signing somebody or trading for somebody before the trade deadline, and that person will not be replacing Cole Bishop. How about that for a little hot take? Taylor Rapp has been very inconsistent and at times underwhelming for somebody who was like the guy they wrote down on the depth chart in Penn. It was, well, you need Cole Bishop to elevate so he can play alongside Taylor Rapp. I think they need more from the Taylor Rapp position right now. I really do. I think the secondary as a whole, besides Benford, has just been fine. But I don't think I would qualify it as good.
Do you think Trey White was fine today?
I think Trey White was totally fine today. He made a couple nice plays. I know he got rotated out, and it looked like I think he took 2 penalties.
It was right after he had his second holding call when he went off and sat a series, and then Dorian Strong came in. Sean McDermott said that was the plan going into the game, as it already was. It had nothing to do with anything Trey did wrong. And because you heard his name get called for 2 penalties, I think you go right to, oh my God, he's got to hold people because he can't hold up with them. But otherwise, he wasn't bad. And he actually, I know that it was more Kamara not making the play, but Trey made the play on 4th down, a huge 4th down stop where he tackled Kamara.
I disagree with this one from Sim Chris, or however you pronounce it. Benford has been meh this season.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think Benford has been meh, and I think he's made some really crucial plays for them. Like even in this game, for example, here's a good situation. It was, I think, 3rd and 10 or something along those lines, and Benford made an open fields tackle to force it at 4th and 2 or 4th and 3. A really nice play. And then on the next play, Kamara kind of slips and Trey White actually coincidentally stops him short, and it's a turnover on downs. And at that point, the Bills kind of won the game. Christian Benford has made several big plays that have kind of fallen under the radar. Like he's not getting interceptions. How about the stop against the Ravens that forced the punt at the end of the game, where the Bills went down the field? Like Christian Benford, open field tackle in that game. I think it was on Rashad Bateman. So like besides getting beat by DeAndre Hopkins on the one-handed catch, I think Benford has been really, really solid.
Yeah. Sandman, no, they're not moving Trey to safety. Travis White isn't a safety. Think about what, especially strong safety is the way you put it there, but any safety. Think about what safeties have to do, especially in this defense. They have to come up in between the hashes and make tackles, right? I mean, like, it's not the position for him. He's not what he's going to do. So can't see that. I agree with you about Benford and his tackling. That's been a big boost, a big benefit to this team. All right. So these are like
That's a good point from Josh. Let's revisit Matt's hot take that Cook wouldn't score 16 touchdowns again this year. Dude is guaranteed at least 1 touchdown per game. I mean, 8 games in a row that he's got at least 1, which is crazy. So, hey, if he sets a record, I will gladly eat my words. That is absolutely ridiculous if he can somehow top 16 touchdowns.
All right. And then I want to go back to the offense a little bit. You talked about Josh Allen. By the way, Josh Allen was 80% throwing the ball today, and I agree with you. Like I would have liked to see more throwing of the ball, especially more to Keon Coleman. After early on, he had a really nice couple of plays. I don't know what happened to Keon Coleman, what the Saints were doing to take him away, if anything. But I don't know why the Bills didn't go back to Keon Coleman. I have to go back and watch and see if the Saints made an adjustment. But boy, it seemed like he was going to have a day early in this one.
Yeah, it did. I honestly think that they got skeeved out by how bad the right side of the line held up in the second quarter, that they kind of changed their approach, and that's when they became a bit too conservative. I mean, there were a couple series. They went touchdown, interception, punt. And on the 3 series where it was interception, punt, Ryan Vandermark struggled. Like they clearly missed Spencer Brown. They took a couple penalties that put them behind the sticks, and their early runs and the field position was just terrible. It was just like an avalanche of things that went wrong for them. But I think that skeeved them out a little bit, honestly. Like they moved the ball at will, and Keon was looking like he was going to be a big factor in this game. And then they really just like stopped throwing the ball down the field for a while until the third quarter.
How do you spell skeeve?
I don't know.
Skeeve means to cause disgust or repulsion. Is that what you're looking for here?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a word I have not heard really.
You've never heard like skeeved out?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Chat box. Have you heard of skeeved out? That's the first time I heard someone use skeeved out. I didn't really know what that meant. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Maybe I'm just a little too old here. Listen, Kebby says,
I feel like skeeved out's pretty normal.
This run defense is atrocious. Tired of making excuses every week. I don't know if anybody's making excuses. Like
it's not good.
It's not good. Nobody's making excuses.
Yeah,
I agree with you. It has been bad. I'm also going to say again. I'll go back to something that this is not me putting lipstick on everything, right? But I was stunned to see the numbers at the end of the game were actually very good overall for the defense, and really that is the goal at the end of the day. Whether it's run defense or pass defense, you got to be able to stop the other team. And the Saints had 4.6 yards of play, which is extremely low, less than 300 total yards. I had way too much on the ground. I agree with you. I gave it an arrow down. I'll have arrow up, arrow down a little bit later tonight when we do it. But I don't think anybody's making excuses, but we are saying that hopefully it'll improve when they get some guys back.
They're such a weird team defensively. Like they're just such a weird team because Derrick Henry gashes them in the first game. Then they do phenomenal against Breece Hall. Then they do really, really well against Devon Achane. Then they don't do very well against Alvin Kamara. It's just like a very weird, inconsistent run defense right now. I certainly don't think it's good, but I would say it's inconsistent.
Yes.
The problem for the defense as a whole is the pass rush, and as the coverage. And
can I just throw this out there, though, Matt? All right, that yes, let's just look into the numbers a little bit more. Spencer Rattler, 6 carries for 49 yards. Part of the issue with the run defense was that the quarterback took off and ran. And I said after the first 2 series, they just need to spy on this guy. Like, he's not going to throw the ball. Put a spy on him, because if he doesn't run for the yards he's running for, that helps the run defensive numbers. I'm not saying that they didn't have problems elsewhere against Kamara or whatever. They had tackling problems. But it did help that Spencer Rattler just kind of took off and nobody was home.
Yeah, definitely. Especially early in the game, right? Like,
Yeah.
the Bills, once again, for the 4th straight game, they start the day with a touchdown, and it's like, okay, things look good. I mean, after that Shakir touchdown, I was like, okay, this boy, I didn't think it was going to be a boat race, but I was like, yeah, this one might get out of hand pretty quick if the Saints don't do something. And then I think on that drive alone, he had 2 really, really long runs that put them in range to capitalize and then eventually score. So, yeah, I mean, being able to contain quarterbacks is going to be something that they need to work on, especially next week. Like, Drake May is not shy and will not, stand in the pocket. Like last year, didn't he have like the most scrambles in the NFL or something crazy? What did he have today? Today he didn't do much. He had 3 rushes for 11 yards, but they also won 42-13. So they might not have needed Drake May to run around and create stuff.
No, probably not. But they'll come to town next week on a Sunday night game.
You know the line?
Ooh, let me guess. Bills -4. 4.5.
Nope.
6.
Nope.
7.
Nope.
9.
8.5.
Wow.
I was very surprised.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a big line.
I would have maybe guessed that until like before today. But because of the way the Patriots won and because of the way the Bills won, it feels like it should be less. That's what I'd say.
For sure. I would have thought 6.5 was my guess. 8.5 is a big line. I would imagine that probably gets bet down to maybe like 7.5, like in that range. But yeah. I mean, but this is the NFL. Like, we are having this conversation. And if you did not follow the Bills super close and you just look at the score, you go, oh, the Bills won, whatever. We are being critical of the performance today because we're holding them to a standard
of some things of the performance.
Of some things.
Yeah, sure.
We're holding them to.
It's always going to be. They're going to be critical of a lot of things.
Sure, as they should be, because that means that they want more and they know that they can play better. We're comparing them to teams that are trying to win Super Bowls.
That's right.
Not just teams that are happy to win or teams that are just average teams. We are holding them to a very high standard because that's the standard that they should be held to. But you brought up the point earlier. The Chargers were like the darling of the NFL. Then they lose today. The Colts were, undefeated. They played another good game. I mean, they had a touchdown. Did you see the A.D. Mitchell thing?
I did.
Like, that's inexcusable. So that's another team, though, that lost. So
Niners were undefeated. They lost to the Jags.
So we're just talking about, like, hey, they got things that they got to clean up, but these are a heck of a lot easier things to solve and try and address after you win.
When you play the way the Bills did and still win by double digits and score 31 points, it still to me means you're a pretty good team because you can make mistakes and overcome them. The question and problem I think a lot of people have, and I understand, is, well, if you make those mistakes against the better teams, that's right, but they didn't play those teams today. They played the New Orleans Saints today. Yeah. And you can't play the Chiefs today. That wasn't the team on the schedule. So, we'll see where that goes.
I would also like to say too, I don't think the Saints are that bad. Like,
I agree.
I know that their record, the last game they played got out of hand. Okay. A lot of stuff went wrong. And we have seen that with the Bills on the other end of it and both ends of it. Like, remember the Saints game in 2017 where it just got really out of hand, or the Colts game in 2019 where they were good, but for some reason the Colts just came in here and blew them away.
Yeah.
So the Saints start with a close loss to the Cardinals and then a close loss to the 49ers. Then they get blown out by the Seahawks. I am not here suggesting to you that you should be any less concerned about the reasons you are concerned because of the Saints being a pretty good team. I just think it's still the NFL. Nobody is that bad. Just truly, no team is that bad. This is
they have
college.
NFL players.
They did not play.
Right.
I don't know what's a. I don't want to insult a college. What is a really, really like crummy college for football?
I don't want to say the wrong one either. I don't know. They didn't play a really bad MAC school. How about that?
Sure, exactly. So it's like
I would say Kent State. There might be Kent State people because they had this big losing streak, and maybe if they lost this week, they're still on a losing streak. So
I almost gave you a little shade and said Syracuse this week
because they got crushed.
But
hey, we lost our quarterback last week.
I know.
It was tougher this week.
Totally fair.
I want to address this because I'm sorry, Jeremy. You've asked this like 10 times. You keep repeating it and pasting it, so I'll address it. Is there a reason Joey Bosa was dropped back into a coverage a few times in this game? It makes no sense. Well, I didn't see it specifically, but that is common in the NFL for defensive linemen. It's called a zone blitz. What happens on a zone blitz is the defensive linemen drop and the linebackers blitz. So you're dropping them into a zone. You're not covering man-to-man. Joey Bosa or Greg Rousseau or a defensive lineman drop so that when the quarterback sees the alignment, he thinks one thing's happening, he snaps the ball, and all of a sudden guys drop, but other guys are coming from other places. So, Jeremy, to answer your question, it was probably a zone blitz. It's not uncommon in the league. The Bills do it, and everybody does it.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a zone blitz, but the Dalton Kincaid touchdown that put the game away was because Dalton Kincaid was matched up against an edge rusher.
There you go.
I don't remember who it was, but it was like a very easy read of like, oh, he's on him. That's where we're going. And it worked out in their favor.
And that play was set up because the Bills are so good at the bubble screen, because they showed bubble screen and the Saints had to respect it. That's good setting up a play calling. And if you execute certain plays well, that can set up other plays very well. Man of War, I might ban you from this chat for reminding me the Jays won the East. No, that's okay. Hey, Jays and Yankees had like the best records in the American League, and the Jays are with the AL East champs. Yankees will play the Red Sox now in the playoffs. Final day of baseball. Oh my. There we go.
We got a
Matt's
fun
got his socks.
We got a fun little rivalry coming up.
I got my Yankees shirt on. They are playing in the playoffs this week. We had the Ryder Cup today, and I guess what I wasn't paying attention. The U.S. almost came back and won, right?
Yeah, it was absolutely unbelievable. Like they got dominated the first 2 days, and then everything went right for the Americans. I will say, we'll get back to football. Absolute nonsense. Did you see the Victor Hovland stuff?
I haven't seen anything.
Okay, so Victor Hovland is hurt. Victor Hovland withdrew from the Ryder Cup. As a withdrawal, the match became a tie and not a disqualification. So each team got a half point, which is that's not why the Americans lost, but that is nonsense.
Of course it is. I did not know that.
They match up they do the matchups without knowing who the other person is. So in that match slot, it was Victor Hovland against Harris English. That match just went away. That did not be played, and each team just got a half point. If a player withdraws, that should be a point to the other team.
Of course, it's a forfeit to me.
Yeah, so that's what I agree.
That's what happens in tennis. It's called a walkover or something, right?
Yeah, some weird rule.
Something like that.
We
right?
got off track.
Anyway, no, that's I totally get it. I didn't know that. All right, Kebby has asked us a few times, by the way. Do Milano, Brown, Oliver play next weekend? I don't know.
Yes.
We aren't the team doctors or the coaches, so I can't tell you. But it feels to me like
Spencer
they are
Brown's
all very close to playing this week.
I think Spencer Brown plays, Ed Oliver plays, Matt Milano doesn't. And the context clues for that are that I think Spencer Brown probably wanted to or could have played this week, but the Bills were a tad overcautious because they tend to be. The Ed Oliver reason I'm saying I think he plays is just because if he doesn't play, then that would have been 4 games missed, and they should have put him on IR. So I wonder if they've in their head had this kind of week as the target comeback week. Milano still has 2 more games to get to that 4-game threshold. They could also just with Milano choose to be overly cautious into that bye week with the after the Falcons game. Like we could not see Milano until after the bye if it's close or, if they feel like they've got a little bit of a longer runway. But I think Spencer Brown is I'm the most confident with him, especially he did practice on Friday.
Yeah, me too. And look, they are getting guys reps and, valuable time on the field as well. I don't disagree that, like, you look at the timeline, should we put him on IR? But it also is something to consider is they've already used 2 IR returns. They're going to use another one on Tyler Bass. You only get 8. You're going to use another one on Tyler Bass. You got to be careful of these. And if they're out totally sure, then I think they want to at least keep the option open and maybe, hey, he might be out 4 weeks. So even if they thought 4 weeks for any of these guys, it might be like, let's not do that. We got guys in reserve that we can count on that can go out there. And by the way, Joe Andreessen played a defensive snap today because Terrell Bernard got stepped on by Jordan Phillips. And that's notable because that's how Ed Oliver got hurt. Luckily, Terrell Bernard is okay. He actually was he had his shoe he had to put back on. But I do think the Bills might have to look for another punter after what happened today, Matt. Now, Cameron Johnston, he was in the locker room. He talked with us. I spoke with him. He said they'll do some tests and imaging and whatever. He got it looked at very quickly. He went back in the game to hold, but he had a noticeable limp and he had a big brace on, and that just doesn't look good for a guy that's his plant leg. And I feel so bad for the guy. Tore his ACL in game 1 last year.
Was it his plant leg or his kicking leg? Isn't he a lefty? I think he hurt his kicking leg.
Oh, I thought it was his plant leg. Okay, so I'm going Chris in our broadcast, Chris Brown, I thought said plant leg, but I didn't look at it when he said it. So either way, it was pretty bad looking.
Is he a lefty? Do you know off the top of your head?
He's not.
He is not. Okay, then it was his plant leg because I have a video of him walking off the field and it is on his left leg, like a big brace.
Yeah, so it's his plant leg.
So it is his plant leg. Okay, yes. I for some reason thought he was a lefty.
Probably because he's an Aussie, and like a few of the Aussies are lefties. I don't know.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, Scott says Brad Robbins will be back. I don't know. They weren't happy with Brad Robbins. I feel like that they would just probably go out and try and find somebody else. The one thing, it's if Cameron Johnston is hurt, that stinks because you don't want to see anybody hurt. He had not been overly impressive up to this point either. Like for somebody who is supposed to have a big leg, I'm pretty sure in this game let's see what they had.
Well, he does have a big leg, but sometimes they just want him to put the ball in a certain spot, right? We don't know exactly what's being asked all the time.
Yeah, these weren't those, though. These were just like they were pinned back deep because their punts in this game came in the second quarter when they went interception, punt, and all of those were pinned back pretty deep.
Right.
And he had 2 punts for 83 yards, so an average of 41.5. Like, I mean, that's you can find that really from any punter who has NFL experience.
And Jeremy, give him credit for coming out to be the holder. Yeah. So just so everybody knows, from being on the sidelines, we were unsure what was happening. And I said on the broadcast, hey, one thing you have to think about is if the Bills are going to kick a ball here, whether it's an extra point or a field goal, who's going to hold? We have our answer. Mitch Trubisky was actually warming up to be the holder on the sidelines just in case.
Yeah, and isn't AJ Epinesa, not that it matters, but isn't he the backup?
I believe he's the backup long snapper.
Long snapper,
I believe he's the backup long snapper. All right, let me ask you this. All right, I'll do a mea culpa, and while I ask you this, I didn't see the Brandon Codrington thing coming, and for all of you who have told me how, like, oh my God, because I've been the person going, no, they wouldn't do that. It's a position they trust. They want a guy. I can't see Khalil Shakir punting. I'll own it. You were right. Anybody who said it, I did not see that coming. I did not think they would put Khalil Shakir back to return punts and have Brandon Codrington inactive. Now, this was also a game where they may have just said, look, we'll be okay on offense. Just catch the ball. We don't need him to return anything. But I do find it curious that Brandon Codrington was inactive and the punt returner was Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel was active in this game. Yeah.
And the other thing, too, though, is if you were somebody who thinks
we just see another blocked kick in the NFL,
I think we just saw a blocked extra point.
Brought back the other way.
Brought back the other point for 2 points.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's what just happened.
Yeah, the Cowboys got 2. Go ahead.
The return game in this stunk. It was not good. So if they needed to figure out if they could get away with not having Codrington, I feel like him not playing today probably helped him more than it hurt him. Because, let's see.
Right.
Shakir had...
Paul, did I say Curtis inactive? I meant to say Curtis Samuel was active. If I didn't say it correctly, my apologies. But yes, we all know that's the point, and that's what we're asking about, and I'm just asking Matt what he thought. So what were the numbers?
Ty Johnson had a bad one. It was a 13-yard return. That might have been on the first one of the game. Curtis Samuel had 3 kick returns, average of 27 yards on those. And punt returns, Shakir had 1 that was 6 yards. Yeah. He also had a downed one that went to like the 3 or something. And then they had another one that was a touchback. So
what do you think about this comment? Is this right? Read that for a second. What do you think about that? I like this. This is interesting. Bills fan 7883. Go ahead.
I think this is a good one. All right. So he says, this is McDermott exploring what a world without Codrington looks like because tough decisions are about to have to be made. I think that's a really, really good point. Bills fan 7883. I think that's a great point. They need to figure out what
get a helmet sticker.
Yeah. They need to figure out what their return to work plan is for Hoyt and Ogunjobi. Like that is admittedly what they need to figure out. I feel like they've got some easy things that they could do with Hairston, with Bass, with Tylon Grable. Like, I think they've got easy things with all of those guys. They got to find 2 spots for Hoyt and Ogunjobi. They're both coming to the active roster. So what do you do? Is it Codrington and Javon Solomon? I don't know. They're trying to figure that out.
We've gone down this road before. It is possible, given what you said earlier, too, that we could see a second-round pick in TJ Sanders not get a jersey.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
Okay. I just say there's a world where that could happen. I agree. That's probably more. I actually think it's more likely that Ogunjobi wouldn't, even if he's on the roster, that he maybe is inactive.
Mm-hmm. The one thing, somebody made a comment earlier. Listen, I think the defensive tackles have been. I think Deion Walker has been a pleasant surprise, and TJ Sanders has not lived up to the expectations that we honestly set. Right? We were people who were praising him, so on us because he has not been that good yet. I do think these reps are invaluable. I think having these guys get these reps now is helpful if they are needed down the road, because otherwise they really wouldn't have gotten them. They would have much more been on spot duty. So to be at this point that's 4-0 with these guys getting the reps, I think that is helping you long term, which is good if you do have something happen to Daquan or Ogunjobi or Ed Oliver down the road.
Okay, Matt, part of the reason why Matt and I, a lot of times we go right after the game, but today we decided to wait because we wanted to get the result of the Ravens-Chiefs game. We know the result of the Ravens-Chiefs game now, and it was all Chiefs. The Chiefs just took it to the Ravens today. And on top of that, the Ravens, Lamar Jackson left the game late with a hamstring injury. Now, the game was kind of out of hand at that point, so we'll see exactly where that's going to go. But your overall thought on, A, the result of the game and the impact on the standings, and B, a lot of people now going, oh boy, here come the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are, if you wrote off the Chiefs, what are you doing? Like, they do this every single year, and they did it without Rashee Rice, who's their best receiver. So when he comes back in a couple weeks, I think they could be an even more explosive offense. But think back to the stat that I said. It's the first time in 2 years that they have scored over 31 points in a regular season game. So I feel like this is them going against a really banged up Ravens defense, a really questionable Ravens defense, who the Bills also scored 40 against. I don't think they're going to do this every week, but I certainly think that they are a team that is very capable of having these huge games. Patrick Mahomes is still one of the best, if not the best players in the NFL. And they have a defense that has given this Bills team at times some fits. So I think still the Chiefs are absolutely the team to beat in the AFC. I feel like the Ravens have a higher ceiling, but struggled in this game. The one thing I'll say, though, is I know mathematically you probably, if you were a Bills fan, it would have been more beneficial for the Ravens to win. I don't agree with that, though. The Chiefs still have a very, very hard schedule. The Ravens have a much more manageable schedule. I feel like the Chiefs will naturally slip up at least a couple more times. I just go look at the Chiefs schedule. Go look at the Ravens schedule. The Chiefs schedule is so hard that I can't see them just going on some insane run where they finish the regular season with 2 losses. I just don't see that happening.
It is really hard, but that's factoring in, of course, the Broncos and the Chargers in their division, who we think are going to be game against them. But man, the Chargers didn't look great today. They lost Joe Alt today now.
Well, but the Chargers already beat the Chiefs once this year.
They did. And the Chargers are 3-0 in the West. But I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. I agree with you. But are the Chargers as good as how they started, I guess, is the point here.
No, the 3 best teams.
Or what we thought the Broncos would be going in, because they've been a really good team. But they do have overall a more difficult schedule, including, by the way, 2 weeks they play the Lions. So they get the Jags next week. They're going to the Jags. Then they get the
Jags
Lions.
Might be good. I'm not saying that they're Bills, Ravens, Chiefs good, but the Jags might be good. So you have on the road against the Jags, Monday Night Football, home against the Lions, Sunday Night Football, the Raiders, who weirdly always give the Chiefs a hard time.
Yeah.
Then after that, listen to this stretch: Commanders, Bills, Broncos, Colts. It's not nothing. That's a tough stretch. Then they've got the Cowboys, the Texans, the Chargers, the Titans, the Broncos, and the Raiders. I'm legitimately, I don't know what their Vegas win total is right now, but you could absolutely see that team getting to 5 or 6 losses.
I'm looking right now.
Especially if the Bills beat them.
Colts and Jags tied in the South. Pittsburgh with a win in Dublin today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are the Pittsburgh Steelers going to win the North, or is that still going to be the Ravens?
I was going to say, if the Bills are the 1 seed that is far and away the most important thing. We are
Yes.
only a quarter of the way through the season. But how billsy would it be if the Ravens or the Chiefs were a wild card team
Yes.
and then they have to play them?
Yep.
Like that's what if like you want the Bills to be the 1 seed, but you also kind of want the Ravens and the Chiefs to win their division.
Well, the
So
good news
then
would
you
be,
avoid them for as long as possible.
yeah, the good news would be you'd get a week off. And speaking of that, so the Bills in 2 weeks play at the Falcons. Do you know the Falcons have off next week? So they'll come in on a 14-day rest, 15 days. It's a Monday night game. The Falcons will be ready. Like that's an interesting game considering Atlanta, who looked much better today and scored a lot of points, 34 against Washington. They have their bye week, next week, and then they get the Bills at home on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I think that the Falcons are good, but not great. I also want to pump the brakes on the Falcons a little bit because they beat the Commanders. And if you just looked at it, you're like, oh, yeah, Commanders, they're good. Well, they beat Marcus Mariota and the Commanders.
But did you see what they did offensively?
Yeah, the offensively, Bijan was great.
Yeah.
He did a lot. Drake London.
After scoring no points against the Panthers last week, too.
Yeah, so I just think that coming off a bye makes it tricky. People are going to roll their eyes at this because they always do. And people are always like, oh, Beauvais is such a drought guy that he just expects losses randomly. Split the next 2 games. Win one, and you are in you're already in a really good spot. You got to win at least one of these next 2, regardless of who it is. Yeah.
You're saying Bills go to the bye 5-1. That's perfect. It's fine.
Oh, I mean, 6-0 would be better.
6-0, but 5-1 is totally great. And anybody would take that going into the season, right?
Yeah, of course. If you weren't, I think
preferably if you're going to lose one of them, you'd rather have it be at Atlanta, not a division game against the Patriots, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So like they should win both of them. But weird things in the NFL happen. So
that's right.
That's a good point from Dustin. 5-1 before the cavalry arrives. I mean, it's not a bad point. Like, you come back from the bye and you could theoretically be getting back. Oh my gosh, what a hit on that punt. Matthew Golden.
Matt and I are both watching. I'm going to watch it right now. Oh my goodness, you're right. I just thought I'm a little behind you.
Yeah, so
on my feet.
You would theoretically be getting back Hoyt, Ogunjobi, maybe Milano if he hadn't been back yet. Max Hairston is going to be such an interesting name to watch. And then, who knows what happens?
Real quick, because we didn't really talk too much about it. Dorian Strong, Tre'Davious White, getting a little bit of a rotation there in a platoon situation. Does that mean, do you think that they're trending more towards Dorian becoming more of the regular guy?
I don't know. I think that they want to see what they have, and like, while they never will say a team, like, I feel like if you're gonna give somebody spot duty, you'd probably rather do it against the Saints than do it in one of these next 2 games,
right?
And think that they would be able to hold their own. So I think that that's probably a little bit of it. Maybe, it could just be that they don't know how much to trust Trey White's even injury history. Yeah. And that they want to get somebody to have some reps. It does make Max Hairston even more interesting, though, because doesn't feel like if Trey was playing phenomenal, they're not doing a rotation. They're not thinking about Dorian Strong getting reps if Trey is playing absolutely lights out.
Well, we'll have a lot more for you next week leading into it in the game, but we do have a lot on the table next week as far as injuries and guys who could come back like Max Hairston and Tyler Bass, and we'll keep you updated on all of that throughout the week. But next Sunday is Nike rivalry series. It's rivalry weekend, basically, the way they treat it. When you watch Sunday Night Football, you always see like a clip of a high school football game, and it's the rivalry game and all that. So they'll have a little bit of that. I've been clued in. I know what the game is they're going to feature. Can I say it? Am I allowed to say it? I think so. I don't know. Bennett and Jamestown, I think, I'm saying it. I'm just telling everybody. Bennett and Jamestown, I think, is going to be
how's that a rivalry?
But they're 2 really good
high school football programs that have big teams. What is the biggest high school football rivalry in Buffalo?
Well, it was Depew and Lancaster, I believe, but it also could be the TNT rivalry, Tonawanda, North Tonawanda. But those rivalries have gone a little sideways because of the way that schools are structured now. So that's a definitely discussion for another day, and maybe one for the sports director of Channel 7 in Buffalo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I probably shouldn't ask the question. Probably should be giving the answer.
St. Joseph Canisius is a good one. There you go, Ben.
St. Joseph Canisius is a good one, but I feel like Monsignor Martin kind of is a separate little thing because those are all big rivalries in Monsignor Martin.
But But I know because I know somebody asked me to do it. We're going to be talking a little bit about everything leading up to it. And I know that some of that is the high school stuff. So that's cool. But next weekend, Sunday night, it's going to be the Bills wearing their Nike rivalry jerseys as well, the new jerseys. That'll be
Mhm.
pretty cool. And I think looking ahead, 7 days from now, looks like really nice weather again.
Yeah, Kimball from the Canisius Crusaders high school football team. He's
Yes.
their lead. He's their running back. He set a school record over the weekend against St. Joe's. He is now their all-time school leader and passed Quadre Olison, the guy who played for the
Oh,
Dolphins
yeah.
for a little
Good.
while.
Oh,
So
good for him.
he's a big time college recruit. He'll probably go to a real big school.
Well, as long as you're doing some shout outs real quick, shout out to Zach Breidenbaker, who ran for 299 yards in a game for Depew, who, by the way, is the son of someone I went to high school with, Rich Breidenbaker.
Oh,
So there
very
you go.
cool.
So it's
Very,
his
very
son,
cool.
and he ran for 299 yards for Depew. So very cool. We covered everything here today. He even gave me a dig on Syracuse losing, to Duke. We talked some college football. We got Ryder Cup, everything going on, baseball, and we're gonna have a lot more for you going on. All right, Matt's got his Sox cap on. I got my Yankees shirt on. We appreciate everybody coming in and watching us here tonight, and want to thank our producer Mike Robier.
Are the Yankees how do you feel? Because you know how I am as a Red Sox. I am so unbelievably casual. Admittedly, I want the Red Sox to win, but if the Red Sox lose, my life doesn't really change, which is
I know that.
a blissfully beautiful way to be a sports
And how
fan.
about the Mets not making it? How
That's
crazy is that?
I feel bad because my in-laws and my wife are big Mets fans, so I feel bad for them. Are you?
Well,
I'll say this as a Yankees fan. Are you worried or are you confident?
Worried because it's the Yankees and Red Sox, and the Red Sox, for me, just always seem to beat the Yankees when I need the Yankees to win. But the Yankees have been playing really well lately, and I love that. But it is the Red Sox, and the Red Sox kind of have nothing to lose coming to New York. By the way, do you know the way they do it in baseball? It's a 3-game,
yeah,
but they're all in one city.
Yeah,
So that way I don't have to travel.
I get it. I don't love it, but I get it. I would say, as just once again a casual Red Sox fan, it doesn't feel like playing in Yankee Stadium is too big for the Red Sox, which is good. But they got to win Game 1. If they don't win with if they don't win with Crochet on the mound, then they're not going to win the series.
We just saw a little trick play by the Packers, but Jordan Love had to tuck it and run. Saints tried a trick play today. Didn't work. Cole Bishop stepped in the way, and that's why we were talking about a Buffalo Bills win, partly here on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. Thanks a lot for being with us today. We'll talk to you again later this week. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy watching all the Bills content and listening to it about the win and going to 4-0.